Hello guys, this is Odds on Europa League. We have the quarterfinals with us, so let's analyze all 4 games. We have good ones and very good odds. Let me know which teams do you think are gonna qualify in the comment section, and of course press the like and subscribe. Let's go on now with the show. So quarterfinals also in the Europa League, and the first game, Dani, I'm really looking forward to this one. Actually, Leipzig-Atalanta. This is a very good one. You mentioned, I think, in our previous video of the Europa League that Leipzig, they are one of the favorites to win this competition. And this weekend, we saw it also in the Bundesliga that they are way better under Tedesco. They thrashed Dortmund, and they are facing a really Atalanta that they are really struggling in the Serie A. How do you see this Leipzig-Atalanta, Dani?
Leipzig massively favorite. For me, the final could be Leipzig-Barcelona, by the way. And Leipzig, yeah, with Tedesco, it suits more their style, you know, their attacking players and the possession they have, but also in midfield, very, very good players. I really like Lyon, by the way. I think he was one of the best players in the Euros 2021, perhaps not very well spoken about. By the way, you could expect goals, I think, in these games. 60% of both team games so far have been both to score, obviously stats that you can find on Oddspedia, and 63% of both games, of both teams' games so far this season, over 2.5 goals, and of course was over 2.5 goals also the weekend for both Leipzig and Atalanta. Atalanta lost against Napoli despite starting well the game. They do struggle though to create good chances and obviously as well to convert them. Look, I think if they had Zapata from the start against Napoli, if he had played, probably they would have managed to rescue a point. Zapata was on the bench. Maybe Gasperini is saving him for this game, but they really, really need him also because Muriel is having a poor season. And yes, this Atalanta team is inconsistent. I don't think everything is happening to them a little bit too slowly this season, a little bit too laborious. Maybe there is, you know, a couple of seconds less of quickness of pace, and yes, the result is not the same. Sometimes the wing backs are not working as well as they could. You know, they haven't had Gosens for a long time. Then they sold it to Inter. Yeah, something is not clicking as well. I think since they replaced, well, they never replaced really Papu Gomez, and without Ilicic, the creativity sometimes is missing. The few doubtful players for this trip to Leipzig, Toloi, Demiral, and City, so the 3 defenders, and we know Atalanta how much they struggle to defend. Maybe Gasperini will be able to recover at least the Turkish player. And obviously, yes, the problem is scoring. You know, they only scored 52 goals so far in Serie A, 7th attack. This is a team that in the previous 2 seasons scored 98 and 90, was the best attack of Serie A. You know, the number really tell all the story. They were doing okay before losing to Napoli, only the second defeat in the last 8. They were able to keep 3 clean sheets. But, you know, against Napoli, again, a lot of individual mistakes. The way they defended the second set piece, or actually they didn't defend, tells a lot. In Europe, they won all of the last 4 Europa League games. They are building more of European pedigrees. We know when they travel away, they are able to win. Last year, they won in Amsterdam. They won in Liverpool. This year, they won at Olympiacos. They done a good game in the previous round against Bayer Leverkusen. But I see an Atalanta I don't think he has improved much so far this season. I think this is going to be the end of the road for them, and I do really fancy Leipzig for the way they have improved. They got a lot of great players, and they play a system that suits them better. There is value on the outright market for a home win. Leipzig win, that doubles your stake. So Leipzig win, 2. That's my bet.
It's very good odds, actually, if we back Leipzig. We also remarked that in the Dortmund Leipzig was the underdog as well. Alvaro, if you want to be optimistic, if you are an Atalanta fan, no, they kicked out Leverkusen in the previous round. Leverkusen is ahead of Leipzig in the Bundesliga, so why not, no?
Yeah, but Leipzig has improved a lot. That's the thing. I mean, they only suffered 1 defeat in 2022, and that was against Bayern. What they did the other day against Borussia Dortmund was very impressive, beating them 4-1 away from home, with a great performance from Leimer, who scored beautiful goals. Then Nkunku, he scored 1 more goal this season. He has scored 16 Bundesliga goals. And then Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo is back, and he's one of my... He's one of those Spanish players that I really like. I think that he will never hit like massive numbers or the statistics. I think that he will always be like a 12 goals a season, 10 assists a season guy, which is brilliant already. But I like his versatility. He can play as a winger, he can play as a false nine, or he can play as a midfielder as well. And I think that Dani Olmo the other day against the Dortmund, he was playing very well, always finding the pockets, the spaces. I really like what Tedesco is doing at Leipzig. I mean, I didn't see that coming personally. I thought that Leipzig this season were going to suffer after Nagelsmann, but hey, there you go. There you go. And they are basically going to qualify for the Champions League another season. It's looking like that, at least. And then when it comes to Atalanta, Daniele has broken down very well what Atalanta is about right now. One thing that puzzles me a little bit, Dani, and I pass it to you now, is that Atalanta has been scoreless in 5 games in 2022. I mean, this is so an Atalanta-esque like. I mean, Atalanta normally scores in every game or tend to do that in the past.
2 reasons mainly. They were plagued by the injuries. So some of those 0-0, the 0-0 against Lazio, the 0-0 against Genoa, they were missing 7 or 8 players. The second reason is Zapata was missing, Ilicic was missing, and Muriel, when he starts from the first minute, is not quite effective. Combine that to the fact that the wing backs, Zappacosta, De Boer, Mele, they not quite reached the peak of last season. And last season, for the past 2 seasons, the second best scorer was Gosens. Gosens was scoring 10, 12, providing assists. So they're missing him as well. Something is missing. The team is inconsistent, unfortunately.
So how tempting is it to back Atalanta? According to what Daniele says, not very, even though a win for Atalanta pays 420, and that has to be said, because at the end of the day, this is Atalanta, and this is a team that in Europe, lately they have proven to be very competent, but I'm going to go for Leipzig to win, that pays 195. Yeah. And I like over 2.5 goals maybe, considering that Leipzig against Dortmund they score 4. So this is a possibility that I see happening. That pays 179, and I think that those will be my best bets. And then there is another one that if you really back Leipzig on the basis of what they've been doing lately, Leipzig to score in both halves, that's pretty nice as well. That pays 270, but I'm going to stay with Leipzig to win the game. I like that one alone.
We have very good odds in these Europa League fixtures, in my opinion, better than in the Champions League, and also in the next one, the clash of dark horses in this Europa League, Braga Rangers. Here, if you fancy Braga, odds 2.6, good enough. If you fancy Rangers, odds 2.9. Alvaro, in Scotland, Rangers say goodbye to the title after losing against Celtic in the Old Firm in the weekend. But in the Europa League, they've been great, actually. They knock out the Dortmund, a big surprise, also Red Star, but also traveling to Braga is very difficult. Braga, the 4th in Portugal, and they, for instance, kick out Monaco in an easy fashion way, in my opinion. So I really fancy these odds for Braga, actually, a team that delivers always in their stadium. They are very tough playing in Portugal.
Definitely. I love it as well. And I think that, Rangers probably consider themselves some of the favorites to win the competition because they've got this pedigree, and because Glasgow Rangers, it was like 14 years ago they played the European final, and they don't think it is impossible to reach another one. But Braga is pretty much the same thing. I think that they reached the Europa League final in 2011 as well, and in this competition, when they play it, they take it seriously. I think that it was a little bit disappointing for Rangers not to get a result against Red Star at the Red Star ground, because I think that would have shown that the Rangers, they are not the kind of team that they win one game and then they speculate, but they've got the eagerness to win everywhere all the time, and they didn't show that, and I didn't like it. When it comes to Braga, this weekend they beat Benfica, by the way, 3-2, which is a very impressive victory. They got a striker, Ricardo Horta, that he will be earning caps for Portugal in any other era. But the thing is that Portugal has many strikers right now. But Ricardo Horta is one of the good strikers of Portuguese football. And the other day he fabricated a beautiful goal, by the way, with his brother Andre Horta in the win against Benfica. I'm gonna go for the following here. I like the draw no bet for Sporting Braga. That pays 183. And or a draw no bet for Sporting Braga in the first half. It pays 183 as well. But there is another one that pays a little bit of more money. It is obviously slightly more unlikely, but Asian handicap minus 0.25 for Braga, that pays 216. If they win, you win. If they draw, you at least get half a lose.
Look, I think with Rangers, we saw them playing really, really well away so far in Europe. In Belgrade was a good performance. Red Star Belgrade scored in the end, also thanks to some great save from McGregor. In Dortmund, it was a massive game, the way they passed the ball through midfield. But, maybe Braga is a little bit more reliable when they play at home than Borussia at Dortmund. The facts with Rangers is that they approach the game, especially away from home in Europe, on the front foot. They score in all of their last 3-4 away games in the Champions League. And last season, they score in all their 7 away games in the Europa League as well, Rangers. But when they travel, they only won 1 of the last 6 away Europa League games. So normally these games are full of goals. It's a both to score game, but they don't tend to win, Rangers. So that win at Dortmund was a little bit of an exception. Also, in the last 7 away games Rangers have played in Europe, they conceded always a goal. Look, I think if Rangers finish this season without a title, not even winning the Scottish Cup, which by the way, they need to play Celtic again, it is a bad season for them, because last season they were unbeaten domestically. They have a very strong, solid foundation with Gerrard. Obviously Gerrard left, now there is Van Bronckhorst, but considering where Celtic were at the beginning of the season, a team that was completely being rebuilt with a new manager, Postecoglou, first time managing in Europe, I think Rangers had a lot of advantage and they let it go. At the weekend they were beaten 2-1. They were second best. I think Celtic managed to come back into the game after going 1-0 behind, and they show better fight, better chances as well. Rangers was a little bit laborious, so too many crosses into the box. They should have tried to do something more to the middle. Let's not forget, a month and a half ago they were beaten 3-0 by Celtic. So overall, I think they are second best at the moment in Scotland, and it is disappointing. Okay, there is another old firm, both in the cup and in the league, so -6, they can still do it. I don't think so, and they might finish this season without a trophy. Okay, they were without Morelos at the Old Firm. He already scored 18 goals so far this season, so it is massive for them. They will probably recovering for this trip and hoping for an historical qualifications as well. But as I said, I don't trust them too much traveling away. I think Braga are solid. I'm going to go for the goals market. I'm going to go for over 2.5 goals to 12.
And the season started really bad, Danny. I remember us analyzing when they failed to qualify for the Champions League. For instance, I really like the odds here for Braga, very good value. Then talking, these are the dark horses of the Europa League. The favorite is Barcelona, of course. They are playing in Frankfurt, and they are even more favorite, I guess, after seeing what happened this weekend. Danny, they won again in La Liga. They seem that no one can stop them. Really good performance of Pedri. And this Frankfurt, they even struggle to beat Fürth. They are so bad this season in the Bundesliga, in the middle of the table. Do you give Frankfurt any chance in this tie?
Not much. I think Barcelona are bound to play the final this season. Frankfurt, 9th draw of the season at the weekend. They are 9 in the table. Yes, they are unbeaten in 7 games, but they draw 4 games in a row against Fürth. A frustrating afternoon for Frankfurt. Fürth basically parked the bus, which Barcelona is not going to do. So a little bit of hope for the home side that they might be able to hit them on the break. But yeah, it is an Eintracht Frankfurt side that they don't score. They don't score enough this season. They only score twice or more at home in the Bundesliga, only once this season. So where they are favorite, they really can't take their chances. Only 4 wins out of 14 games in Bundesliga. They qualified under lucky circumstances against Betis. It was an own goal in the last minute of the extra time. Otherwise, probably they might have gone out on penalties. Who knows? But I think Barcelona are going to dominate the play. They're going to have the ball. Sometimes Barcelona switches off at the back, so that could give Frankfurt a little bit of hope, but I'm expecting a high-scoring game. And again, in terms of odds, if you go for the goals market, there are no great value there. So again, I try to combine over 2.5 goals with both to score. So 2-1 for Barcelona, for example, 3-1 for Barcelona. That pays 2.82.
And away, Alvaro, they've been great in the Europa League. Barcelona, they won in Istanbul, they won in Naples. You also expect them to win in Frankfurt?
I think so, yeah. I'm backing Barcelona strongly in this tie. I think that they are playing against the German side that is not particularly convincing today. Frankfurt, they have scored only 39 goals in the Bundesliga this season. They have conceded 38, so their numbers are not particularly impressive. Yes, they beat Betis, but I said in the preview of that game that Betis struggles against teams with a little bit of pace, and Frankfurt is that team. But what were Frankfurt expecting anyway for this season? They sold their striker Andrés Silva, who scored 29 goals last season, and they didn't replace that player with anybody. Their investment last summer was very poor, and Borré is the only striker who is actually hitting decent numbers, the Colombian, but you know, it's impossible to be competitive or as competitive as you were last season if you had lost your best player. When it comes to Barcelona, they are playing as a team right now. I mean, the other day they beat Sevilla 1-0. It wasn't easy because Sevilla tactically is very clever and they know how to shut the door. But Barcelona managed to win, and I would say deservedly, with a great performance from my favorite Spanish player right now. And I think that he's the best Spanish player. Some people may disagree. But I believe that Pedri is a footballer that levitates over the rest. I think that he does everything with a certain ease that is passing for me, and then he does some passes and some dribbles that don't make any sense. Sometimes I wonder, what is this guy doing? And then whatever he tries is working for him. So, you know, I'm very impressed by Pedri, and the other day he won the game for Barcelona, but he won it for them as well in Istanbul. So, you know, this is a guy who is actually just jumping many fences and making sure that he's leaving all the doubters behind. He's unbelievable. And then Barcelona is scoring many goals. They didn't score many against Sevilla, but they scored 4 against Real Madrid. So I think that this is a good moment for Barcelona. I'm going to back them completely, and my odds here will be Barcelona to win 174, good enough. And then in the Asian handicap, I can go from a range of minus 0.75 for them, 193, to -1, which is 227. So I'm ready to back all those 3 odds that I've given.
Very good odds for Barcelona. How things have changed for Barcelona since they traveled to Germany the last time. Remember that they went to Munich in December and was impossible for them to get a victory. Now they are huge favorites to beat Frankfurt, because this is a completely new team under Xavi. And the last game, this is a good one, very balanced one. Alvaro, West Ham, Lyon. I know that you were in the London Stadium to watch West Ham beating Sevilla, and the reality is that West Ham, they are so strong when they are playing at home, both in the Premier League and in the Europa League. Tom is always saying that the squad is very short, but they come to this game as favorites. But be careful, because this Lyon, perhaps we have not to watch the Ligue 1 standings, but their European performances, and they have a very good squad. And for instance, they knock out Porto, which is a very good team.
They knock out Porto. I think at Olympique Lyon, they've got a certain danger in them, because they've got very good players. Simple as that. I mean, Dembélé is one of their best players, a very good striker, in my opinion. Then they've got Ndombele in the team, another player who was signed for Spurs signed him for 50 million like 3 years ago. Then they've got in defense Jerome Boateng. Then they've got Lucas Paquetá, in my opinion the midfielder in South America with more quality. Lucas Paquetá, altogether with Josimar Yotun, but that's another story. But El Paquetá is a quality midfielder, and he's playing for Brazil. And generally speaking, they've got this kind of team that is hit and miss, because it looks like they are incapable of winning 3 or 4 games together. But at the same time, when it comes to the big nights, they are delivering. They are 9th in Ligue 1, yes, but they are only 6 positions or 6 points away from European places. And I do believe that this is a very dangerous side, Lyon. So I think that they beat Porto kind of comfortably, and that is not easy, especially at Dragao. Then this season they have beaten Nice, for example. They have beaten Marseille as well. So this is a team that when they turn up, they are capable of inflicting pain. The problem is that there is something there that stops them from being competitive day in, day out. Their opponent, well, what can we say about West Ham United? What I saw against Sevilla was probably one of the most one of the most explosive atmospheres I have seen in years in a football ground. West Ham United fans believe that this competition is there to be won. West Ham fans, they are enjoying the trip, and I think that they are liking it so much that the West Ham at home are going to be pretty much unbeatable this season in the Europa League unless they play Barcelona. So for this game, despite all the praise that I given to Olympique Lyon, I have to say that I was very surprised with West Ham United the other day against Sevilla. I think that West Ham United the other day did the job against Everton in a very professional way at home as well. This is a team that lately at home they've been very impressive, so I'm going to back them to win. That pays 208. But if you think that this is too much, well, minimize your losses. So an ace and handicap of 0 for West Ham United, 149. That's about right for me as well.
Look, West Ham have to be favourite because it's a team that always scored in the Premier League, always scored in the Europa League, but one game that was useless for them, and they beat Liverpool, Chelsea, and Sevilla at home so far this season. But careful with Lyon because maybe they're saved the best for the Europa League so far this season. They are unbeaten in the Europa League. By the way, they deserve to beat Porto. They had many chances in the return leg to score the second goal. Alvaro mentioned all their attacking powers, and there is one more, Tete, which they signed until the end of the season from Shakhtar. Last season, 6 goals in the Champions League. And who scored the decisive goal at the weekend against Angers? Tete. So, they got one more weapon up there. They rested Togo Ekambi because he was coming back from the African qualification. So maybe Togo Ekambi will play as well. Now it's up to Peter Bosz to make sure that he finds the right balance, especially in midfield if he's playing so many attacking players. Only 12 wins in 30 games for Lyon this season. Disappointing. The change of manager so far hasn't quite worked. The high pressing style of Bosz. They are 9th. They might still qualify for the Europa League next season, but is the defense that is concerning for Lyon. They conceded 39 goals in 30 games, and that's the worst tally domestically since 96-97 for a team that used to be at the top of the league, and they are very inconsistent. As Alvaro said, only 2 wins in the last 6. Before they won 4 of last 5, so they don't really go into a winning streak. Yes, West Ham, they do normally score. Careful with Lyon, as I said. They score a few goals away from home so far this season in Europe. For this reason, I like the over 2.5 goals market, which pays 205.
It's very difficult to trust this Lyon, but in France, actually, in Europe, they've been great. For instance, one of the best games this season was in Glasgow when they beat Rangers. So be careful. And here is super balance. Actually, to qualify, it pays exactly the same going for West Ham or for Lyon, around 2.0. Well, this is it. We have 4 great games also on Thursday. Danny, let's go with your ACCA then.
Okay, a lot of goals in Leipzig, Atalanta, so over 2.5 goals. Braga, Rangers, both team to score. Barcelona to win in Germany, and West Ham, Lyon, both team to score. The total odds are 10.37.
Really good odds in these Europa League games. Alvaro, your ACCA?
Yeah, it could be Leipzig, Atalanta, over 2.5 goals. Sporting Braga, Rangers, draw no bet for Sporting Braga. Asian handicap of minus 0.75 for Barcelona. And an Asian handicap of 0 for West Ham United. That pays 9.41.
Thank you, guys. See you very soon.
Thank you.
Do you agree with our experts? Let me know. I want to know your opinion, your comments, your thoughts. Which teams are going to qualify? Right in the comment section. And of course, press the like, subscribe, or if you prefer as well, remember that we have a podcast. Thanks for watching.